talking peace over power with the power of
GWPOP Talk. Are you ready to talk?
Hello, welcome to GWPOP InTent Talk. Yes, our intentions are good, and yes, we are literally talking in a tent. We are here today to talk face-to-face with some of the locals of Hermosa Beach, California, on various subjects such as music, health, food, social media, and most of all, peace. Our main intention with GWPOP is to open conversation and let thoughtful ideas in and shine light on ways to build the power of peace and make change a realistic possibility. So my name is Brad Etter, and I will be hosting today. And we're here with our lovely guests.
Hey, my name's Sean.
Sean?
Hey, I'm Ava.
Ava, cool. Very lovely to meet you too. And I love your matching denim. We are going to be talking about peace and education today, which is the peace within yourself, your community, and ways to build and share that peace is what we're going to be exploring together. So my question to you two is, what's the correlation here? Do you feel that our education systems right now are allowing for peace, a collective peace? And what are ways that we can maybe restructure or re-envision our education systems to allow that peace for budding souls, for children?
That's a great question.
I feel pretty stressed about the education
Right,
system.
we can go into that for a while.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I think politics kind of have, I don't know, a sway over like our education system right now, and why that's causing us.
Oh, I'm sure they do, like funding and stuff, and like what they're allowed to say, and like, yeah.
Has it gotten worse, you think? I feel like it's totally gotten worse as the years gone by. I know, like, personally, I pay like $3,000 for tuition every like semester, and I work to pay that, so it feels like, so I mean, as far as like peace goes, it's kind of weird because you work to like go to school and everything, and then say you graduate with like this degree or whatever, just because society demands that you go to college, graduate with a degree to get a job, but then you get a job that's not even pertaining to the degree you got, so you end up working like a job that like has nothing to do like with your heart, your spirit, and your dreams. And then like in terms of like peace you have once you do get that job, that means like nothing. It's like, what is it all for? Then you just feel
It's almost like you're in this ever-spinning guinea pig wheel that was mandated from
really,
the beginning.
Yeah.
That's
Does anyone else
interesting-
like feel?
No, I do, and I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's an interesting direction
Let
that
him
you took. I like that direction because it's like, is there peace in this protocol of, you know, starting from a young age, being put into a system, a school, and then being told from a young age you need to kind of figure out what to do, this constant pressure to graduate to the next rung of the ladder.
You know what's the crazy part is that we're the most educated generation with the least amount of jobs. Like, so it's just like, the whole point of doing that is to help us with our careers, but it's like, at this point we don't have enough guidance.
Yes.
I think, for like, what makes us happy and what we want to do, because that's like, our generation feels really focused on like fulfillment and not just like paycheck.
I think you've reached the crux of this matter, really, is what is this sense of peace that we can like kindle in our schools? Like, I feel like it sounds like it starts at a young age.
Yeah.
It starts from the beginning, maybe like a shift in the way we approach it. I personally have a friend who went to a Waldorf school, which is it's a very liberal kind of format, and kids are encouraged from a young age to just kind of guide themselves. I mean, obviously the teachers are there to be supplemental to their journey, but they're able to explore the arts that they want to, and sort of be in more of a Renaissance state of mind, and be in control of your future from the onset instead of kind of being told, okay, like all this pressure, like this is what you probably should start thinking about. This. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that sort of format? Do you think that could instill the peace that we're talking
Waldorf
about?
school?
Yes.
I don't know.
What does that even mean?
So Waldorf school is what you were saying, that they kind of just have free reign to do like whatever they want with subjects.
Right.
and everything.
So there's
not
no
as much
grading. There's no
structure.
grading scale. It's more of a subjective experience, and the arts are treated as equal to what you could consider more of the objective, like science and math.
Yeah.
The analytical subjects. Arts are seen as equally important. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, like, if we focus too much on the math and the science, then we like the kids are gonna lose confidence in their artistic abilities, and like we still need that, and we still need creatives to
We
like.
definitely need
You know what I mean?
creativity.
That's like
Yes.
there's always jobs for that.
Did you have a thought, sir?
I did. So I think that pertaining to are the arts equal to something like science and math? I think at a young age, you teach these kids math and science, and it's so exact. 1 + 1 = 2 is going to be that way every time.
Yes.
Where they're being told all this information, but the arts actually give the kids room to be able to think for themselves. I want to draw a tree with a unicorn horn on it. They're just going to do that, and it's so open-ended, and it's really the only thing. Maybe you can argue English, but there's still a format in English too as well. But something like drawing, right, or music, it's just so free form, and I think it's the only subject really that kids could start thinking for themselves, and I think that's important at a young age. Besides, you got to do this equals this, or yada yada yada. I think that's important for their developing mind.
On that note, that's interesting because constantly I'm talking about, man, if I had like started doing this, like playing guitar, for example, when like this kid started doing it at like 14 and he's like a huge Instagram star, or no, in Justin Bieber's case, YouTube star, then it turns to like this huge like celebrity thing. Like, oh, I missed out. I feel like it's so important to like have that creativity unit like at a young age, like start to like in that direction so that they can like grow in something that they really enjoy.
I totally agree, and I think that's a really cool angle to seeing it less as like polarities and more as a synergistic experience, and both inform the other. Like sun and moon. Instead of like categorizing them as objective and maybe more subjective, which is harder to define. So maybe we won't go that way because it doesn't work with the system. But maybe our systems can be a little more subjective and open to a child's development. What I was going to say is what you were saying about Justin Bieber. You see these big mainstream artists, like huge artists, who usually have a story of maybe dropping out of school or getting away from that whole trajectory. Like, no, I didn't go to college, or because I wanted to pursue my art. Why is that a dropout story?
Do you guys know who The Weeknd is?
Yes.
The singer?
With cool hair.
With the cool hair. If I'm not mistaken, he's like a high school dropout, but he's also like made millions doing like something that he loves, and he's like better at singing than a lot of people. But like a lot of people like harp on the fact that he hasn't graduated high school. So is he like a success?
So how old is he? Like he dropped out because his career was starting, or to focus on developing his career?
I don't really know, but I know like if you go to Wikipedia, like one of the first things it says is he dropped out of high school. It's like, why does that matter?
Like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like he makes more than most people who graduated.
I mean, yeah, and so like people that aren't The Weeknd, they go to high school and then they go to college, and they don't get to like the Weeknd status. They just end up living lives that like, aren't memorable.
Yes.
But they graduated high school and college, whereas The Weeknd, he didn't like graduate high school, I believe, but he made it to like the status to where like all these people love him. But like Kanye West, we always focus on him being like a dropout and everything, and that's always like constantly a thing.
It's I feel like this is a kind of a norm at this point. It's sort of like we see these artists who have like they're bristling with things to say, like just emotions, right? Which aren't you can't really define or measure that. So they don't necessarily fit the mold of what we're offering right now, I think, as an overall structure. So it's maybe like seeing, I think structure is an incredible thing and very important, as long as it's serving these artistic endeavors as well. So maybe there is a way for that to work. Because we're in Los Angeles, which is the heart of what you might call dropouts and people who are taking a risk and moving away from their hometowns, opting to not go to college. I'm one of those people. Opting to not go to college so you can take a risk and find work and just make it work somehow because you have a dream.
I think there's something to say in that with people that are taking that risk, that they're not focusing on their plan B. Some people, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to do this just in case, I'm a fallback plan.
Right.
Where the guys that are actually making it aren't even thinking that it's not even an option.
Right.
I'm only going to do my plan A. And that's how these guys are being separated from the pack.
Yes.
Right? Because you got all these people that are spreading thin. I'm going to do my music or my art on the side while I'm going to be an electrician or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Chances are those guys that are going straight for the arts they're gonna be way above and beyond those other
Because
guys.
they're putting
Right.
all of their time and energy into it.
They're putting
gonna
everything into
develop
it.
your skill. And
Yeah.
And there's no sure answer to that. You know, like there's no security in knowing that you will prevail. But when you do, I love what you said. It gave me shivers down my nape. This idea of not having a plan B, and when you don't entertain a plan B, it doesn't exist for you. And that, I think, gets into the principle of manifestation. What you desire in your life, if it's what you already are, like this isness that you know you are something, you become that. But if you're entertaining all these possibilities when it comes to finance and stability, I think that definitely weakens your ability to
Right.
manifest.
I think too with public school, like I said with that, like we don't encourage that.
No.
That's why it's like not something that people continue with
Right.
long term. If it's like you have to really take a step back and like think about your own life and like, is this gonna get me there? Like I feel like it's not really correlated with success necessarily.
Right.
And, you know, it was interesting too because like we're not open to like creative minds, but we're also really behind in science and math compared to the rest of the world. So what are we focusing on?
Oh, that's a good point.
Like what are we're doing something wrong.
We're kind of getting back to what you were saying. Like they're a balance, and I feel like when you just like whatever. I mean, if you're polarizing anything, whether that's gender or just really anything, objective, subjective, left and right brain, you start to lose that integration that I think allows for the greatest creativity.
For me, school isn't about like the facts that you learn and like the information that they put in your head to take out into society. School for me is about teaching you to find that dedication to like pull through. You know, like when you're down to the wire and everything, and in your head you're thinking, there's no way I'm going to be able to bust out this assignment, but you do anyways. I feel like that's the main reason we go to school, because that's the actual thing that schools want you to take into real life, that I can just do it type
Like
of
discipline
attitude.
and structure.
Discipline, exactly. It's cool because school teaches you how to handle stress when you get out into like the real world, but does it have to come with like that financial burden that you carry with yourself usually like for years after school has like ended and everything?
Yeah. Most people for most of their lives.
Yeah.
Which I think brings up another point. I love that your thought process on this. Like, does that kind of ruin a sense of peace that should come out of school?
Yeah,
like a sense of being born into the world where it's like cool, wind at your sails instead of like thunder and lightning, like a sense of doom. It's like this sense of not necessarily keeping up with the money, the financial payments just for school, a deterrent to it in the first place. Is that like a big, you know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of the anxiety that I personally get of not being as creatively successful as I want to be right now comes from like social media.
Yeah.
You know, and from seeing like these people that supposedly like made it overnight and everything. I'm like, oh, why am I not there? Am I not working hard enough when I already work extremely hard? And so I feel like that's probably like a factor into like what's causing like this lack of peace for like social media.
Yeah, I was gonna say, spring off both of these comments, is the whole YouTube thing now. It literally overnight success, which is being Instagram famous, YouTube famous, Vine famous, because of the instantaneous nature of technology. That's kind of becoming its own. That's the new cool thing, is to become successful as a creative person. Usually, I mean, being a YouTuber or some kind of online presence is a creative endeavor. How do we feel about that? Like you just said, it makes you kind of, it creates like a comparative energy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of steals that sense of complacency and peace in what you're doing. Maybe makes you feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough right now to be seen.
It's good and bad because it makes me feel like I'm not working hard enough. So then I work harder and I start to become more successful in like my creative life, but I don't get any like peace out of it. That's like the trade-off. And it's funny because like these people have probably worked, like you said, like 10 years and everything, and then now they're like able to say that they're an overnight celebrity. But in my head, they're an overnight celebrity, so I'm striving even harder to get there.
Something I kind of wanted to backpedal a little bit and shift the conversation. I know we only have a couple minutes here, but we've been naming success kind of inherently as peace this entire time. Do we think that peace is something that comes as a byproduct of this idea of success we've been naming, which is being massively out there,
No,
being seen by everyone,
I don't think so.
having stadium tours, having millions of YouTube subscribers.
I think it's more in your individual mind because there's plenty of successful people who kill themselves
Of course.
and who have
Avicii, wasn't it?
right,
Yeah.
who have drug issues that they're dealing with. Like, I think in all like parts of your life, if you want, like, you just have to be mentally stable, honestly, to really be happy.
Yes.
I think personally, the more you strive for success, the further away you get
Right.
from peace.
That's
I
true.
agree.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to wrap this up at this point. I think we had some excellent talking points here.
That was
I think
a good ending.
it was.
I thought of that one.
I think a good
For a
way to
while.
synopsize this is maybe looking at all our systems in not in terms of have, do, be. Like if I have this, then I can do that, then I'll be this, and maybe reversing that and being like, if I be this, then I can do this, and then I can have all the things that I desire. So maybe it's shifting the paradigm and implementing that across the board, so it can, we can cater to all types of people, whether they're creative, logistical, whatever, to find their place and really create a co-creative world that is peaceful, because everyone has their place and they all feel nurtured and seen. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to our Intent Talk, and stay peaceful.
Thank you.